Somewhere along the way, sex stopped being about intimacy and it started being just intercourse. Scheduled, timed, goal-oriented, optimized for an outcome, right? Tracked on an app, color-coded on a calendar, performance on demand. And if you're honest with yourself, like really honest, it stopped feeling like something that you wanted and started feeling more like something you had to do. Another item on your list, another box to check, another thing to get right in a season where everything already feels like it has to be gotten right, right? And he feels it too, because there's nothing less conducive to desire for either of you than obligation. So today we're going to talk about it, not clinically, not cautiously, directly, honestly, and hopefully with a little humor. Because this conversation deserves all of that. We're going to talk about what the trying to conceive journey does to intimacy, why it happens, what's underneath it, and how to reclaim that part of your relationship that was there before any of this started. The desire, the connection, the pleasure, the fun. Because reclaiming that is not just for your relationship. It's good for your body and for your ability to conceive. So if you've been feeling like the bedroom has become a boardroom, stick around because this one is for both of you. So before we get into it, if you're not yet subscribed, do that right now. Hit subscribe, hit that bell. It helps to reach more couples who need this conversation, and I really appreciate it so much. Thank you for being here. And if you're new here, my name's Tamy Anderson, and I have the best job in the whole wide world. I help couples trying to conceive make babies. I'm at that intersection of functional health, mindset, and nervous system rewiring, which is the full picture that you actually need, and almost nobody in this space is giving you. All right, so let's get into it. Before we get into the intimacy piece, though, and we absolutely will, I promise, I want to give you some context because what is happening with fertility right now is not just a personal story, it's a cultural one. And understanding that context matters. Today, roughly 1 in 6 people worldwide will experience infertility at some point in their reproductive lives. That's the World Health Organization's number. 1 in 6. In the United States, about 11% of women and 9% of men of childbearing age have infertility. And the number of couples seeking fertility treatment has increased dramatically. Assisted reproductive technology has been growing at 5 to 10% annually for years. And it's not just her either. Sperm counts in Western men declined by more than 50% between 1973 and 2011. 50%. In less than 40 years. Something's going on, right? The science is consistent. Men today produce fewer sperm, and the sperm are less healthy than in previous generations. Now, here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. A significant driver of where we are is that women are waiting longer to start their families, and their biology has not expanded its window to accommodate that shift. The average age of first-time mothers has risen from around age 21 a few decades ago to closer to 27 today. And in the high-achieving professional women who make up the large portion of my practice, it's often closer to 30, 35, or even beyond. That delay is not happening because women don't want children. It's happening because the culture told them to build their careers first, right? To establish themselves, to prove their worth in the professional world before they turn their attention to motherhood. And then by the time many of them turn that attention, their bodies are working against a different biological clock than one they thought they had, right? There are many other variables driving the infertility picture: environmental toxins, endocrine disruptors in our food and water and personal care products, chronic stress, gut dysfunction, nervous system dysregulation, all of the things that we address in my work. They are real and they are significant. But the cultural piece, the story we've been telling women about what makes them valuable, what we should prioritize, and what we should be willing to sacrifice, that's a variable that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. And it sits at the heart of what this episode is about. I'm going to start by saying something here that's going to make some people really uncomfortable. And I'm going to say it anyway, because I think that it's one of the most important conversations that we can have if we're really serious about understanding why fertility is struggling on a cultural level. The feminist movement told women that their value came from what they could achieve, that equality meant doing what men do in the way men do it as well or better than men do it. That ambition and career achievement and professional success were the markers of a woman who had arrived. And that the desire to be a wife and a mother, to prioritize home and family above career, was something to be ashamed of. A lesser choice, a waste of potential. And I'm not here to tell you that women shouldn't have careers. I've always had a career, so that's not the point of this episode. The point is what we lost in the transaction. We lost the understanding that motherhood is not a consolation prize. It is, as women, our highest calling. It is the most powerful, most impactful, most world-changing thing a woman can do. I'm getting goosebumps just saying this. Without women, without mothers, nothing exists. The entire human story ends. Dr. Kelly Brogan, a physician and women's health advocate whom I deeply respect, has spoken openly about this. In recent years, she shared that when her kids were small, she was so consumed by her career and her professional identity that her kids felt like an inconvenience to her ambitions. And looking back now, she says that one of her deepest regrets is that she didn't recognize what she was holding, that she was so busy chasing achievement and proving herself that she didn't fully inhabit the sacred role she was already in. And I have my own version of this story. When my sons were small, I was a classroom teacher, and I gave everything to that role in the way that high-achieving women do. I would rush my boys out the door in the morning, usually in a frazzled, frantic frenzy, drop them at daycare, spend my entire day pouring all of my energy into other people's children, stay until the last possible minute to finish up in my classroom or attend one or more committee meetings that I had volunteered for, as though I had the time, right? Race to pick them up before daycare closed, get home, feed them, bathe them, get them into bed, and then either sit at the kitchen table until midnight with a pile of work I had dragged home from work, or I would get back in my car and drive 25 minutes back to school to work until 1 or 2 in the morning. And then I'd be back up at 5:30 to do it all over again. I was also, somewhere in the middle of all this, training for marathons and struggling with chronic health issues that were, for obvious reasons, getting worse and worse. My children did not get the best of me. I had zero libido. Zero. Not because I didn't love my husband, but because I had nothing left to give. My tank was empty from giving everything to everyone else. Everyone except the people who needed me most. My marriage struggled, my health crashed, and the version of motherhood that I'd always imagined, present, joyful, embodied, fully there, I largely watched that from the sidelines. I'm sharing this with you not to get lost in regret, but because I know I'm not alone in it. I have sat across from more women than I can count who are living some version of this story right now. High-achieving, corporate-driven women who have built extraordinary careers and who are also exhausted, disconnected, running on empty, struggling to conceive, and quietly terrified that they have somehow missed the thing that they actually wanted the most. And I want to say something to those women directly. You are not less of a woman for wanting to be a mother first. You are not wasting your potential by choosing to prioritize your home and your family. You are not just a stay-at-home mom if that's what you want to do. And if anyone in your life has made you feel that way, I want you to let go of that completely. Raising healthy, happy, joyful human beings is not a small contribution to the world. It is possibly the most significant one you will ever make. Truly your legacy. And for those of you who are going to keep your careers, because that's totally your choice to make, I respect it completely. I want you to know the cost, not to judge you, because I lived it. I was already open about that, but because you deserve to go in with your eyes open. The golden handcuffs are real, and so is the price. So let's talk about something that's really at the root of why intimacy suffers during the trying to conceive journey, and honestly before it. Most of the women that I work with are high achievers, corporate women, entrepreneurs, executives, women who are very, very good at being in their masculine energy, because that is exactly what their careers have required of them. Decisiveness, drive, output, control, forward motion, getting shit done. And that energy, in the right context, is genuinely powerful. It's built careers, launched companies, shattered ceilings. I am not here to tell you that your ambition is the problem, but here is what I want you to really hear. Your masculine energy gets things done. Your feminine energy is where you conceive, not metaphorically, physiologically. The masculine energy state, driving, producing, achieving, controlling outcomes, is a sympathetic nervous system state. It's your stuck state. It's fight or flight. It's cortisol and adrenaline and the body running on high alert to meet the next demand. The feminine energy state, receptive, open, soft, present in pleasure, is a parasympathetic state. It's where your body rests, repairs, regulates, and yes, reproduces. You cannot be in full masculine drive mode and simultaneously be in the state your body needs to conceive. The biology doesn't work that way. And the harder you push, the more you optimize and track and control and achieve your way through the fertility journey, the more you are keeping yourself in the exact state that makes conception harder. Esther Perel, whose work on desire and intimacy in long-term relationships is some of the most important writing in this space. And she talks about this in her book, Mating in Captivity. She describes how the conditions that make us feel safe and secure in a relationship are often the exact opposite of the conditions that make us feel desire. Security is about closeness and predictability. Desire requires a little mystery, a little separateness, a little aliveness. And when the fertility journey turns sex into a clinical protocol, scheduled, timed, outcome-driven, it strips everything away that desire actually needs to survive. She talks about how women in particular need to feel free from the weight of responsibility and mental load before they can access desire. And for the high-achieving woman who is managing her career, her health, her fertility treatment, her household, her relationship, and her emotional state, often all at the same time, that freedom is nowhere to be found. So this is not a character flaw on your part. It's a nervous system state. And there are real consequences for your health, your relationship, your fertility, and your ability to conceive. And it has a solution. There's a book that I think every woman listening should read. And the title is probably going to make you really uncomfortable before you even open it. And the title might make you not even want to download it. But I think it's a necessary read for every woman. It's called Pussy, a Reclamation. Written by a woman by the name of Regina Thomasauer. And yes, I said the word. I said it out loud. I said it on purpose. Because one of Mama Gina's central arguments is that the word itself, the way it has been weaponized against us, right, turned into a slur, made shameful and dirty, is a perfect mirror for what our culture has done to feminine energy itself. Made it something to be embarrassed by, hidden, apologized for, suppressed in favor of something that looks more like masculine productivity. And Regina's work is the antidote to that. Her central teaching is that a woman who is connected to her pleasure, who allows herself to feel good, to receive, to be in her body rather than just in her head, is more creative, more energized, more magnetic, more alive, and frankly, more fertile. Because pleasure is not a luxury, sister. It is a physiological state. It is the body in its feminine, parasympathetic, receptive mode. And she argues in the book, and I completely agree with her here, that most women today have been so conditioned to produce and achieve and give and perform that they've completely lost touch with their capacity to simply receive, to be in pleasure, to inhabit their bodies as something other than a vehicle for getting things done. If you are a high-achieving woman who has been using your body as a workhorse, which, if you're listening to this show, is quite possible for you, this book might be one of the most important things you read this year, or maybe in your entire life. I'm going to leave it at that and let you decide for yourself. But let me give you the clinical piece of things, because I know many of you listening need the science alongside the philosophy side of things. Pleasure, specifically the kind that involves genuine desire and connection and physical enjoyment, triggers a cascade of physiological responses that directly support fertility. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released in significant quantities during intimacy and orgasm. Oxytocin is a powerful antidote to cortisol. It literally counteracts the stress hormone that is suppressing your reproductive function. More oxytocin means less cortisol. Less cortisol means more progesterone. More progesterone means a healthier luteal phase and better conditions for implantation. Regular sexual intimacy, the kind that is connected and pleasurable rather than clinical and obligatory, also modulates the immune system in ways that support conception. Research shows that women who have regular intimate connection shift their immune response to be more tolerant of sperm and of implanting an embryo. Your immune system is primed to attack anything it reads as foreign. Regular, pleasurable intimacy over time trains it to be more welcoming. And the nervous system piece that I am always going back to applies here as well. Genuine pleasure, the kind that requires you to be present in your body rather than in your head, is one of the most powerful nervous system regulation tools available to you. It's almost impossible for you to be in fight or flight and also be in genuine pleasure at the same time. One shuts down the other, right? And the one you want for your nervous system, your hormones, your fertility, and your relationship is the pleasure. Now, I want to say something that's really important here. The goal is not to turn orgasms into another item on your fertility to-do list. That would be entirely missing the point here, and honestly probably make things worse. The goal is to create the conditions in which pleasure happens naturally, because you feel connected, desired, safe, and fully present with your partner. The pleasure is a byproduct of that, not the assignment. So this conversation wouldn't be complete without talking about what timed, pressured, outcome-driven sex does to the guy, right? Because the truth is that it's not just hard for her. Men are not machines either. And a man who loves his partner, who genuinely wants to give her what she needs, doesn't do well under the pressure of performance on demand either. When sex has a job to do, when the timing has to be perfect, when the outcome is being tracked, when he can feel how much is riding on this particular moment, the desire to perform can become paralyzing. This is something that nobody in the fertility space honestly talks much about. The man who's trying his best, who wants this as much as she does, who would do anything to give her the baby that she's longing for, that man can experience real performance anxiety, right? Real disconnection from his own desire, real grief about what intimacy used to feel like between you and him and what it's now become. And when he can't perform on demand, or when the sex feels hollow and clinical, even when it does happen, he can internalize that as failure, as not being enough, as letting her down. And that shame and pressure goes into his nervous system, into his body, into the dynamic between them, right? This is another reason why reclaiming intimacy is not just a nice thing to do for your relationship. It's essential for both of your bodies and for the shared nervous system environment that you are living in together as a couple. So then, what do you actually do with all of this? For her, it means permission to be in your feminine. You are allowed to put down your armor. You are allowed to stop producing for a few hours. You are allowed to just receive. You're allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be in your body rather than in your head. Not because it's strategically good for your fertility, though it is, but because it's who you actually are underneath the achieving. The feminine is not weakness. It is the most powerful force on earth. Without us, nothing would be. It is the energy that creates life. And you've been trained in our modern day culture to apologize for that. Stop. For him, become a student of her. The most powerful thing that you can do for your partner and for your shared intimate life is to learn what makes her feel desired and safe, and truly be able to relax into her soft feminine side. And then do those things. Do them consistently. Do them without being asked, without an agenda. And for the love of all that is holy, send her flirty texts in the middle of the workday. Not a check-in, like to-do list kind of thing. Flirty stuff. Not the logistics. Something that lets her know that you're thinking about her and that you find her completely irresistible. Touch her softly on her lower back when you walk past her in the kitchen. Kiss the back of her neck when you walk by. Open doors for her. Pull back her side of the bed. Offer to run her a bath and then sit beside her while she's in it and just talk. About nothing important. About everything you love about her. About the future you're building together. Do the things around the house that need to be done without waiting for her to make you a list. That list costs her more mental energy that she doesn't have. Know what needs to happen and just do it. The act of taking the load off of her mind without being asked is one of the most genuinely intimate and masculine things that you can do for a woman. It signals that you see her, that you're paying attention, that she doesn't have to manage everything alone. And this is going to sound really simple, but flirt with her. Maybe you used to do that and you don't do it as much anymore. Maybe you don't feel like you're good at it. There are apps you can download that'll teach you how to flirt and little things you can say to her. But master the art of flirting. As silly as that sounds, she will love it. Make it a point every day to make light, playful, connective conversation at home so that not everything feels heavy. Remind her in various ways on a regular basis that you find her beautiful and desirable, not just when you want something, all the time. This is what it looks like to help her come home to her feminine energy. You can't demand it. You can't schedule it. But you can absolutely create the conditions in which it becomes possible. And when she's in her feminine, when she feels truly seen and desired and safe and soft, she's going to be in her body. And that's also when she's in the physiological environment in which conception becomes possible. And that's not a small thing. That's actually the whole thing for both of you. Make a decision together. decide out loud, intentionally as a couple, that you are going to reclaim the part of your relationship that existed before the fertility journey consumed it. Not by pretending that the journey isn't happening, that you don't still want your baby, but by refusing to let it be the only thing that's happening. Go on dates when you decide together ahead of time that the fertility journey is just not going to be discussed. Plan something together that has absolutely nothing to do with conception. A trip, a dinner, a project, an adventure. Find something that makes both of you laugh. Remember who you were together before this came the whole story. Esther Perel says that the couples who maintain desire over the long term are those who never stop being curious about each other, who never let the other person become known and predictable, who continue to surprise each other, who choose each other actively every single day, not just by sticking around, but by turning toward each other with genuine interest and delight. That is the invitation. Turn toward each other with curiosity, with desire. The sex that results from that kind of connection is not a job. Sex matters in a marriage, not because it's the most important thing, but because it is the one thing that belongs exclusively to the two of you. It's the part of your relationship that's not shared with your kids, your colleagues, your friends, your family. It's yours. Specifically, privately, intimately yours. And when that piece of your relationship goes quiet, when it becomes clinical or obligatory, or it just stops happening at all, something in the connection between two people begins to quietly erode. Resentments start to surface that otherwise wouldn't be there. Distance grows between you. And then two people who love each other start feeling more like roommates than lovers. I know this from my own marriage, my own lived experience. The seasons when we had a lot of sex, that's when we were most connected and playful and genuinely turned toward each other. Our relationship during those periods felt completely effortless. But the dry spells, those are the times when we fought the most, when old resentments surfaced, when we felt furthest from each other, when things felt really lonely in our marriage. And that's not coincidence, that's physiology. That's the oxytocin and the bonding and the nervous system co-regulation that regular, connected intimacy creates, and what its absence leaves behind. So reclaiming your intimate life during this season isn't a luxury. It's maintenance. It's the daily choice to keep the connection alive, not just for the fertility outcome, but for the marriage that you're building. The one that will be there long after the baby arrives. The one that your children will grow up watching and learning from about what love looks like. So give them something worth watching. All right, thank you so much for being here with me today. I had a lot of fun making this episode, and if it opened something up for you, or if it made you laugh, or it made you think, or it made you elbow your partner, I want to know about it. Drop me a comment on YouTube and let's continue this conversation. If you're ready to do this work together, both of you fully in it, it starts with a conversation. Applications for my partner discovery call are open, and the link is in the description down below. I've got some other resources linked down there as well, and I've got a free masterclass in the works specifically for couples navigating this journey. I'll let you know when that's live, and I will link it for you when it is. And do me a favor, share this episode. If you know a couple who needs this conversation, send it to them. Send it to your partner if you know your partner needs to hear this conversation as well. It's important for both of you to hear this, not just one or the other. Subscribe and hit that bell icon if you haven't done that yet. Leave me a rating and review if you're listening on one of the audio platforms. It just takes a couple minutes and makes a massive difference in getting this content to people who need it. It's really the only way that this content finds its way to the people who need it, by your sharing and your rating. I love you, I mean it, and I'll see you in the next episode.